And the movie itself, yeah, as you said, Scott, and as you said, Honky, it was just there wasn't a lot of dry eyes in the house at times, especially me. Every time Brooke would come on screen,
Mm.
still that one hurts so deeply, which is why the loss of Sam Foltz back in 2016 was yet another one of those where you go, why has this happened to the kids that just love and care and play for the team so deeply? But it does, and maybe it's for an example for the rest of us to do a little better and be a little bit better. But yeah, seeing Brooke on the screen was tough. Uh, the most poignant moment for me was when Dwayne Harris, when they started talking about recruiting and getting Frazier in here, and Harris was like, "Oh yeah, that boy was an asshole." I was like, well, we all knew this. We'd all heard the rumors that he was kind of a pain in the butt to deal with, and he just did not take any crap from anybody. But to hear somebody on his own team say, yeah, that guy was an a-hole, was pretty insightful. So I love the way they did it. I love the way they did the movie. They took an hour to set up the national championship season of 1994. And I also love the fact that you didn't have to live through, 40 minutes of the 70s and 80s leading up to the 90s. They got through the struggles with Oklahoma at the beginning of Osborne's career fairly quickly, and they got into the meat of it. Was when we kind of hit that late 80s, early 90s. We're losing all these bowl games in a row. We're wondering if he could ever win the big one. And then that recruiting class came in, the Sties, the Zadiskas, the Peter brothers, all those guys, the Wistroms and everybody like that showed up on campus. I was kind of surprised they didn't highlight Wistrom much for the 94 season, because he was a true freshman. He played a lot of special teams, and he did play quite a bit of defensive end backing up Harrison and Jones. But I imagine we'll see a lot more of him in the next one. So that's kind of the few things that stood out to me in the movie. Were there particular moments for you guys that really grabbed your attention in the movie?
All right. I mean, I think the leadership in that 94 team, and really 95 or 93 as well, those two, because Trev was, highlighted quite a bit, and people forget Trev never won a national championship here, but he was, a huge part in that 93 season, being 2 points away from getting one. And he really helped lay the foundation for it. But that 93 team and the 94 team, which were the main focus of this, the leadership on those two teams was just so incredibly strong. And I noticed, for me, the kind of had the waterworks going most of the night, just trying not trying to bawl my eyes out, and during a lot of it. But it took me back to, like, I can remember back in that time frame in Columbus growing up, and my parents' friend Mark, who was there at B-Dubs with us. I can remember my parents watching documentaries of 1970s, Huskers and Johnny Rogers, and there'd be some kind, it would evoke these memories for them since they lived through it 20 years earlier. And here I am now, 20 or 30 years now later, and it's the exact same thing. The memories of those games, I remember being at so many of them, and to see it now, being portrayed historically, it puts me in my place that I probably, don't need to be carded anymore. But also that, it was great to see it in that setting. I guess one memory is probably hard, but just the whole entire thing was so well done. And I know the second we walked out of there, I tweeted out to the Redcasters, I'm just like, go to this thing, get to this. You're going to want to watch it. And hopefully Josh Davis and the group that, have been part, behind putting it together. I think that they have to be hearing the feedback from people that this thing, at some point needs to be somehow digitally streamed or DVD'd or whatever the heck, something, so that people that can't make it down here to see it get their hands on it too.
Yeah, hell, I'd donate to PBS if I knew I could get a DVD. Yeah, during Big Red wrap up sometime next year, if they throw that DVD at you for the $180 level, shoot, I'll do it.
In a heartbeat,
it'd be worth it.
And that's it had everybody on it. I mean, and they'd been doing it since like 2019, and then there was delays because of COVID. So because of that, I mean, Bobby Bowden's interviewed for it, and he's been dead now for over a year, and
Yeah.
he was a part of this. And, Switzer and you just name it. And then, of course, all of our former coaches, McBride was in it, and the group of players that they got together. I mean, it was really impressive. And they were open and honest. And the next one will be interesting because 95 is where you get into, obviously the Lawrence Phillips stuff and just, that year had a different impression nationally than what 94, we were still the good guys. We were trying to get Osborne's first ever win. And then, of course, by 95, we were being labeled nationally as, the win it all, everything. And I know Coach Osborne really was happy to have this group put this show together as opposed to it being some, 30 for 30 ESPN type of thing that would have sensationalized it. So it's raw, it's real, but it wasn't, in no way did I ever feel it was sensationalized.
It certainly didn't look like there was an agenda except to tell the story. Mm-hmm. That was it. And that to me is what documentaries and journalism is supposed to be, is just give you the facts, give you everything that happened and let you figure it out for yourself. And to me, it was very true to what I remember. Honke, you and I are different in a lot of ways in the sense that I never saw a game in Memorial Stadium until Oklahoma in 1995.
Oh, okay.
So, growing up in Arizona and not even becoming a fan until 1983, meeting my wife after she moved there in 88, and then moving up to Nebraska in 1990, it was hard to get to games, living on the salaries that we lived on at the time. And even back then, Oklahoma was $25 a ticket, and that was expensive for an end zone seat. And so, I didn't get the context of seeing all the games. I heard most of them. I saw like the kickoff classic against West Virginia in 94. I remember that vividly because I couldn't wait to get home from church so I could watch the game. And then all the other games along the way. And then hearing Tommy Frazier get hurt and seeing that news report that he's out the rest of the season and he's got a blood clot and don't know if he'll ever play again. I'm like, crap, we did everything we could except win the thing last year. And now our best guy is sitting on the bench. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. And holy crap. Yeah. You know what? I think you've said it many times on your show, and I've heard it on other podcasts. Folks say that the 94 championship meant so much more than the other two, just from the sense of, number one, you beat Miami in their stadium. You score a 2-point conversion in the same damn end zone that you missed a 2-point conversion in the 1984 Orange Bowl. You vanquished that ghost. You finally got over the hump. You finally got it. And then the next year, and for the most part of 96 and 97, nobody could touch us. We were just that dominant. So that 94 team was truly remarkable to win every game, starting 3 different quarterbacks, one of them being a 5'8" fire plug from what, Wahoo, Nebraska. I mean, it's just such a remarkable story.
Yeah,
remarkable.
We look back on it now. Of course, it's 60-3 over 5 seasons from 93 to 97, and it's this great dynasty. And historically, we can look at it like that. The reality is, everything we just watched up to the end of this movie, to the end of the 94 season, you didn't know you were sitting in the middle of a dynasty as it was happening. No. We go undefeated in 93, but we're 17.5-point underdogs of Florida State. And as Albert said on it, they were so, in particular his class, they were so depressed that they didn't win the championship because, they weren't going to get another chance. They were graduating. And also that you just never knew if we were ever going to get back. It had been 10 years since we played Miami in 83 for national championship. And this might've been the last chance for Coach Osborne. And so they felt like they really let him down. And then the 94 guys that are coming back, of course, that's the entire offseason of unfinished business. They have, the workouts with 116 on the clock and all offseason. We're going to finish this thing off. And you go the whole season undefeated. But despite all the crazy injuries and everything that, all the adversity that they went through. And now you're going to go play Miami and you're down 10-0 against Miami. And I can remember watching that thing live and never feeling comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable when when Frank Costa threw the bomb at the end that got intercepted by Kareem Moss. There was still in the back of my head is it's gonna bounce off someone and Miami's gonna catch it and run it for 90 yards and tie it. It just wasn't until it was over. It's like, oh my God, we actually won. but then that was just one national title. I mean, that no reason to think, okay, we'll turn around and win 2 of the next 3 and have some of the most dominant teams that have ever played the game. So that's the weird thing, I guess, about dynasties and everything is while you're in them, you probably don't know it. It's usually, it has to end for you to be able to look back on it historically. And that's obviously what we get to do here.